DJ Vlad, man, welcome to Vlad TV.
I'm already here, yeah.
For sure. So, man, I've been waiting a minute to interview you, man. I got a couple of big questions for you. First off, man, I've heard you mention a few different interviews here and there, okay, that back way back in the day, probably past the statute of limitations, you was in the dope game, you was touching some bricks.
I wasn't really in the dope game. I had a friend who was a former drug dealer. We went to UC Berkeley together, and I had just watched the movie Deep Cover, so my stupid ass got the impression like, oh, here's like the Jewish guy and the black guy, and we're going to become drug dealers together and grow this whole drug empire. It was really one of the stupidest things I've ever done. So I brought up the idea with him, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. So I gave him $17,000, and he brought a kilo over to my apartment with his son. His son was playing Nintendo in the living room while he cooked up a brick in my kitchen. And he started saying, oh, like, I think there's a problem with this stuff. This isn't what I'm used to. I got to look into this. And then, like, I couldn't reach him for a couple of days. And he was like, oh, yeah, that whole brick ended up being fake. But I got you. I'll make it right. He never made it right.
Wait, so he kind of like, he was saying that he was getting the brick from someone else, and then he was with you, going to be in business with you, and like, oh, it's not working, but really, was the whole thing a facade?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was just a way of him, stealing $17,000 from me. And shortly afterwards, my business ended up getting shut down. I really needed that money, and I never got it back. And I was really mad about the situation for years and years, because I'd run into him once in LA, and he's like, no, I'm going to pay you. Let's exchange numbers. Like, I'm going to get it to you, next week. He never paid me. And I interviewed Freeway Ricky Ross. And when I told him that story on camera for the first time, he said, well, you do know that if he didn't rip you off, you would have gone to prison. And I'm like, and suddenly, like, really just a bomb went off in my head. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. I just thought, I was going to be Pablo Escobar? I mean, that's dumb. I had no idea what I was doing. So, yeah, I lost $17,000, but it kept me out of prison. And I've probably made about $50,000 talking about it. I'm going to make another $1,000 today just talking about it. So, at the end of the day, and what's funny is I found him on LinkedIn.
No, not LinkedIn. No,
I found him on LinkedIn, honestly.
What was his most recent occupation?
He works for some tech company, some bullshit tech company that no one's ever heard of, and every person in the company is like a director, so the company ain't shit. And I reached out to him like, yo, let's do the interview. Like, I'd been talking about it for years. Like, oh, okay, yeah, let's talk first. And then he just never responded. And I'm just like, yep, this is the same bitch that he was back then. I think what he thinks is that he's going to show up and I'm going to have someone hurt him, right? That's what I think he's thinking, that I'm going to get revenge. But I'm not, because $17,000 in 2025 really is nothing to me. Definitely not worth my freedom on any level, because I'd get arrested. So yeah, he would just come in. I wouldn't pay him anything. But my thing is, like, if you want to just make this right karmically, come in and do the interview, talk about it. It's way past statute of limitations for everybody, and it'll create some cool content. But then again, it might actually embarrass him somewhat and maybe mess up something else he's got going on. But I've never mentioned his name. I've never mentioned his initials. I mentioned that he was black. That's about it. And that we were around the same age. We went to school together. But that could be one of thousands of people. So, I never told on him. I just, it's one of those stories. It's part of my history.
Yeah, it's crazy to look back, because it's almost like that could have been one of the best things that ever happened to you. Who knows how messed up life could have been if you'd really got in the dope game like that at that time,
One of the best things?
Well, you sometimes it's like the butterfly effect. Little things, take you off course and put you on the course you're supposed to be on.
Yeah, no, I mean, it put me on the course to be who I am today. I don't know, maybe I would have been Boston George, and I created millions of dollars with the wealth and so forth. But it was an interesting moment, because he ripped me off, and we were doing illegal business, and the only thing I could do is something violent. There's really no other option. I can't call the police. I can't sue him. I'd have to do something violent to him myself, or I'd have to have someone do something violent to him. And then that now escalates this whole situation to something else, right? And I was like, man, I'm not built for this. I realized my own mortality at that very moment and said, I'm not built for this drug shit. I'm cool. If this is what it entails, ripping people off and having to like hurt people and shoot people and end up going to jail over this shit, over revenge, and like, yo, man, I'm cool. I'll go back to my regular ass boring legal business and I'll flourish there. This is not my thing.
I respect that, man. I feel like that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Were there any other criminal enterprises that you thought maybe I'll give that a try back in the day?
Nah, I'm not really a criminal like that. I've always figured out at one point that you don't have to rob and steal from people to become successful. When I read Warren Buffett's book, and there was a famous quote in there where he said, they say behind every great fortune is a great crime. At Berkshire Hathaway, there's no crime. Mm-hmm. We do regular business, we pay our taxes, we just make good business moves, and we think of it long term. And once I read that, it all sort of clicked into place. Like, okay, you don't have to rip people off, you don't have to go behind people's backs and so forth. And if you look at the way I've done business all these years, like, yeah, not everyone loves me, but no one's ever said, Vlad ripped me off. Vlad said he paid me this and he never paid me. I'm suing Vlad because he owes me money or whatever else. That's just never happened. Even people that have worked for me and the situation went bad, we still pay them on their way out. Because my thing is like, just pay what you owe and keep it moving. Because once you start ripping people off and going down that, like the top 5 approach, it's just going to magnify. And whatever your win is, you'll take a much bigger loss in the long run. So that's just the way I've done it. So I haven't really done too much illegal stuff. I used to sell mixtapes back in the day. That's technically copyright infringement, but no one gave a shit. The music industry was promoting the stuff anyways. It was helping out their artists. So it was one of those things. I even got out of that, so like me and DJ Drama were sort of doing it around the same time. And then when the feds arrested him and towed his car and seized his bank accounts and everything else like that, I said, I'm done. That's enough for me. Let me go into DVDs and video and so forth, because this mixtape shit, if this is what it leads to, it's just not worth it because there's not enough money in it. You're making barely enough to get by and then you end up getting arrested on top of it. I'm cool.